by David Robertson, updated July 30, 2017, 10 hours 0 minutes and 51 seconds. Climbing team leader Andy Zolossi knows the meaning of the phrase "a logistical nightmare." He led the team that put the first climbers up the northwest face of Federation Peak in southwest Tasmania in winter via the notorious Blade Ridge, in the depth of Tasmania's wettest winter. In 2016, less dangerous routes in better conditions have ended with injuries and even deaths. A nurse fell about 50 meters to her death while attempting to summit Federation Peak in March 26. Mountaineering legend has it that Sir Edmund Hillary declared Federation Peak as Australia's only real mountain, and the Blade Ridge is one of the hardest routes up to the northwest face, and never successfully climbed until 1968, and that was in the summer. The winter in which this attempt was being made found Tasmania treading water as the state recorded its highest recorded rainfall ever, as well as getting the climbing team together and leading it. Andy also had to get supplies and equipment in place to make sure the achievement was recorded by camera and drone for a now completed documentary. It was so wet, the vision shot for the documentary Winter on the Blade shows little evidence of the snow that usually settles heavily in the area in June and July. The snow had been washed away. One of the two team members marked who actually did the ridge climb was Mark Savage, who had failed previously in winter 24 years ago, and gave this bid a 1% chance of success. He and Nicholas Wright took 12 hours to reach the summit. The bid to be first in winter by this route involved sending in the 7-member climbing team with volunteers on a 5-day provisioning trip in April 2016, to take in 120 kilograms of food, fuel, climbing gear and some camera supplies. The supplies were dumped in bushland along a track of sorts to the base of the peak, in good weather conditions. There were 12 of us all up. The objective was to carry in the 120 kilograms of provisions and stash it at the base of what is Federation Peak. Andy said, that included enough food for 7 people for about 2 weeks, packed so it would keep for a couple of months up to the expedition. We had about 10 liters of fuel to do all the cooking while we there. Filmmaker Simon Bischoff took the opportunity to move in some of his gear too in that provisioning phase. We took a large tripod, and we also had 200 meters of static rope, enough climbing gear for 2 parties, and that climbing gear was used to rappel down the northwest face to film Mark Savage and Mick Wright climbing it. He said, we had to carry in these big plastic 70-liter tubs to store the food in, because the rodents would chew through any kind bags. The tubs were tied to the outside of one of the volunteers' backpacks, and his nickname became Turtle. There are fallen down logs. You are not walking, you are crawling more than walking, through this entwined, viney mass, and the fact that he didn't get those tubs cracked for us is pretty remarkable. Simon said the tubs were sealed with duct tape to keep out the weather and the rats. Just for a start, you can get these dead dog bags from the vet, that's what they call them, so I think we got the German Shepherd size, and we duct taped those as well, and inside those were individually sealed dehydrated meals that were prepared for the trip. He said, 2 months after the equipment drop, Andy assembled his team for the